What is up, and welcome to Skill Diff, where we have not only differing skill set, but differing opinions. We saw that differing skill set this weekend because we played some games together, Pat.
Yeah, we played some Halo.
We did. We played in a tournament
We competed, yes. We competed in
How did that
the
go?
open bracket.
Well, so moving on,
expected.
over this weekend, there was a lot of cool events happening. We've got Counter-Strike coming back this week. Over the weekend, we had Silver Scrapes taking over Vancouver, and Pat's favorite game, Valorant, did decide to come back and give us some exciting matches. So let's start there. Over the weekend, we got to see a Grand Champ final. Nothing but Europe. Europe's the only one being shown in these moments. Do you think this Heretics going from double bounce to winners, are they the real deal? Are they a top 3 team? I think it's just a fluke.
I think they're a pretty top tier team, but I don't want to delve too much into that because of our next topic. But I think Heretics, when we look back to before Toronto, we had Heretics as doing pretty well. I mean, they are a team. This is a team that last year finished second at Champs, and they are the same squad that they were then that they are now. So there was a lot of anticipation building up, and they had a little bit of a slow start, and I guess that slow start carried into that. But with EWC, it was a different story, and some might argue that maybe the EWC doesn't matter or people aren't taking it serious, but I don't really buy into that. I think the teams did take it serious. I mean, this is a chance to be the first EWC champions, and that's what they got to get. And I think Heretics are a strong team, and they definitely gave Europe that little bit of more edge to show that they do have a fighting chance. I've been very critical of Europe, that they really just have Fnatic, but Heretics have finally showed up. And I think they do have a chance, and they beat Fnatic in a very close game where they actually all finished negative in the whole series. And I think that just points more to Valorant about how it's more than just a shooting game.
Sure.
It's more about how you play the map. It's more about your strategies and uses of ability. And Heretics was able to barely get that win out of Fnatic. It was very close, very intense games.
Yeah, it does feel like it's a little bit more of an OBJ type game. And the way the Europeans are playing it is so team heavy. It's so team orchestrated, well executed hits, movements, usage of ability. We even saw some really smart moves, like we saw them buying sheriffs even with guns and rounds to prevent ultimates from other teams. It was really good. But on the note of Europe, there were 4 European teams made it to the bracket stage. They did get some unfortunate bracketizing with where they got play, so 4 of them had to play each other early, or 2 of them had to play each other early for eliminations, rather. So that did make it a little bit disproportionate. But Paper X got dropped by Fnatic in the rematch, which was nice, and then we got to see Fnatic go to the final. So I think Heretics are really good. I think there's some cool stories. I think the Benji Fishy piece is pretty nice. It's just hard for me to say they're top 3. If I had to bet right now, I'm probably not putting them over G2. I'm probably not putting them over Paper X, and I'm probably not putting them over Fnatic. But all props go out to them. I still think it's really impressive what they were able to do, but it's just, we've not seen the consistency from them. That's their first tournament win. That's their first important victory ever. Now, if you do it a couple more times, then, hey, let's start talking about it. But same thing for Fnatic. I mean, it's hard for me to say Fnatic should be competing with the Paper X's and the G2s, because it's like, now you've got 2 good runs, give me a few more good runs, and we'll start buying that.
Hey, well, I think that just leads perfectly into what we'll be talking about next, which is the top teams and how balanced they all seem. It seems like any team that's within like the top 7 can potentially win the series. Is this more like a game issue, or is this just the talent is all just that good within those teams that they are this close?
Yeah, it's really tough because to me it's twofold. One end of the spectrum, I think it's that, I know Valorant's Brown, it's just celebrated its 5th birthday, but it still feels so young. The competitive teams feels so immature in terms of, what are the roles? How are we actually playing this? What's the balance like? The nerfs to Tejo and whatnot kind of changed the champ pool, and like the game is a little bit more ever evolving. Not nearly anything as volatile as a Call of Duty, but also not nearly anything as stable as a Counter-Strike, really. Because in Counter-Strike, I mean, we've got pros that we've seen for 20 years at this point. Kerrigan's older than us, and I retired many, many years ago, and that dude's still singing it. But I think Valorant being such a new, young game, it's interesting to see that you do get that diversity in strategy and diversity in playstyle. And like, I know you hate on this perspective, but to me, it's like G2 is the team of superstars that don't play as a team that good, but they're all incredible talents. The European teams seem like they're maybe not as good individually, but they have incredible team synergy. And then you have the Asian region, which is maybe a combination of both, because at times they pop off, At times they out-strategize you. Maybe they lack a little bit of consistency, as we see Paper X falling before making the finals. So I still think it's just a very immature game, and we're trying to figure out what path to go. Is this a pure team game that we don't need crazy firepower, or do you need nothing but superstars, or what's the strategy here?
That's an interesting take. I think because for me, it's like I think a lot of the shoulders of this game go into like the IGLs and the strategies.
Sure.
And I know, like, as simple as Counter-Strike seems on paper, like, obviously we've seen when we were talking about the leaks of their strategies, they have them all printed out. So it's like you're taking something so simplistic and they make to, like, down to a T. 100%. I think Valorant just kind of amplifies that a lot more because since the way you can play smokes and everything, it really evolves the door. And as the game keeps growing, more agents keeps coming in, and that's just going to keep changing the way the game is played. So it's like you're constantly having to adapt, and it's about teams adapting to the new metas, Tejo getting nerfed, right? It's things like that like keep them together. And I think the talent-wise, like, I think a lot of teams do. It's like it's hard for me to look at a team and be like, yeah, that guy, he's not very good. As to where, like, Counter-Strike, sometimes it's like maybe it seems more apparent, and it might just be because that is more gunplay-oriented
100%.
game, as to where this, it's like, yeah, they got the skill, but it's like, or he might not be the best shooter. Like Jonah P, for example, for G2, right? Like, he's probably, in skill-wise, maybe their weakest shooter.
Sure.
But he plays a crucial role of initiator, and he's really good at setting up the lineups or using breach to stun and opening up those potentials for his team, and that's what comes in more huge. And I think that's where with Valorant, that's what it's all about, and makes it a little bit more balanced.
I do think the other side, too, which is on the note of Jonah P, is the names in Valorant. A lot of those people came over. Like we mentioned Benji Fishy earlier. We have Tens, we have Tarek, we have Scrap/Brax, we have like all these other people that came over. And it's like, it felt like the first couple years was like, oh, Counter-Strike guys moving over. Oh, Fortnite guys moving over. Whereas now it's like we're finally getting like pure Valorant kids coming through on Valorant. And it doesn't feel like that's still fully integrated yet. And there is so much media behind it because like, Tens is a big deal. Like, he's a big name. Jonah P is a big name. Jajamo is a big name. It's like when you see Counter-Strike, it's like there are so many people that you have never heard of, and then they are incredible. And like you say, they just come out of nowhere. And it also doesn't feel like the Counter-Strike guys really care about content, so they're not trying to stream, they're not trying to co-stream. They're just there to play business, do the game, show up, do their job, go home. Whereas Valorant's like a weird hybrid because it does have those moments of like fun and quirky and Valorant dating and everything else.
Valorant dating?
Yeah, it's like you get on there, you do the solo queue stuff. It is.
I think we had somebody here that used to do stuff like that.
Hey, you're into what you're into. The next thing we want to hop into, though, complete opposite end of the spectrum, honestly, opposite end of the world right now. League of Legends was in Vancouver for MSI. And we got, I believe, this is officially the most number of silver scrapes in any league event ever. And for a game that started its competition in 2010, that's a crazy stat. Also, good on them for patenting the silver scrapes. Like, such a cool thing. But do you think that so many Game 5s is good for League, or do you think it's like, hey, let's get this show on the road. We can't be playing until 2 in the morning every night.
Yeah, I think it's not good for sleep schedules, people who live like a 9 to 5 type life. But for entertainment reasons, obviously, it definitely is a lot better. And I think just like anytime, like we were just talking about Valorant being more balanced, anytime a game has a competitive pool that is a lot more balanced, it always makes it more entertaining. Because we don't want to see T1 and Faker dominate everybody. While it can be cool and maybe Faker might pull off some insane plays, it's like, yeah, wow, Faker got another ring. Congratulations. It's like, but here it's like, you know, they going toe-to-toe with Gen G, and this is like a serious match that's going down to the wire. And I wish, the thing with me still with League is, unfortunately, is I wish other regions could get into that. Valorant, we got like pretty much all the regions have a team that can compete. League, it's more just like China and Korea. And then we got these 2 other guys over here, or 3 if we include the LTA South, that are they're just kind of there to have fun. But even they put on the show. I was so excited with FlyQuest. Although they didn't last long, they still put on a good showing. And they showed that they potentially have what it takes. Maybe not to beat Gen G or T1. They couldn't beat Billy.
They showed a cool graph at one point that was Gen G was either going to go back-to-back or T1 was going to win MSI for the first time in like 8 or 9 years. But they showed, and they had the flags was out of the country. And there's one lone G2 victory in there. Other than that, all the flags are from the Asia region.
Yeah, it's insane. But I think overall, MSI was a great event. All those Silver Scrapes did make it a lot more fun and exciting, and obviously that proves so with the numbers.
Totally. It's one of those crazy viewership from the event in general. And like one of the things I really want to highlight is, again, I led with this a little bit, but the fact that Riot, as much crap as I give that company, Silver Scrapes idea, concept, music, all of that, incredible. Because like the only other game that even has something close to that is in Call of Duty Round 11 double breadsticks. It's like a big deal. But other than that, like Valorant, it's like, cool, you go to game 5. Counter-Strike, it's like, cool, you go to overtime, whatever. But like Silver Scrapes means something, and that is cool. And the fact that we got to see it so much, and it was also not that we got to see it as much as we did, but that all the games were so good. And Fearless Draft is so, so underrated because it made this so exciting. I mean, we'll get to it in a minute talking about Faker versus Chovy, but the fact that T1 in their game 4, when they were up 2-1, were drafting picks so that they couldn't be used in game 5, arguably compromising their game 4, was like, it just shows that like Fearless is like a weird complexity that they're still trying to figure out. And that's probably part of the reason we're getting so many Silver Scrapes, because like, if you're so good on the same champ, what can I do? Ban it? And if you got 2 champs, I can't ban them both. Like that limits me so much. So Fearless, I think, has really shown that it might be Asia versus the world, but Asia's really good at the top, and they're really close to the top.
This is true. And then on your note, Fearless Draft is fantastic. I think that definitely does also add a whole nother layer into this, because watching the same 5 champs played over and over again definitely makes it less entertaining.
Blue build, Ezreal, and Sonya forever.
But as you just mentioned, Chovy or Chovy, however you said it, versus Faker, who's better? He now win.
Yeah.
They didn't take MSI. T1, had you said 8 or 9 years, how long it's been. So does this seal it that he's better than Faker? Yay or nay?
If we're talking today, I think the answer is probably yes. If we're talking records all time, no choice, no option, not close. Because you're getting a dude who has been doing this for a decade, and sure, he's going to slow down. Sure, he's going to be a step behind. I did think the intro was crazy. When they did the intro, and they're having all the players came out, it was so set up that Gen G is like the favorite. They're going to do it. It's all about them. They have the best player in the world. And then we come out in the first game, and Faker says, I'm going to out-CS you. I'm going to smoke you. I'm not going to die. And then it was like immediately like, yep, that's what he does. It's another day with Faker. Here he is again. But I do think that, I don't think his champ pool is necessarily the problem. I think that he's fighting the best opponent he's ever fought in his life. And I've never seen either of them blow each other out of the water. It's always been extremely close. Even when Faker beat him in the first game in CS, it was like within a wave the whole time. So I don't think that it's miles ahead. It, to me, feels like we're watching 2 of the greatest of all time compete at the same time. I just think one of them's peak is a little bit kind of gone. I think Faker's peak was probably, 5 to 6 years ago. He's still playing incredible. He's still probably the second best player in the world, and that's why they're in the finals. So today, I don't think it's Faker, but all time, it's absolutely Faker.
Yeah, I mean, I think that pretty much sums up my thoughts as well. I mean, Faker is the person that everybody knows. I mean, you go to any different other esport, probably a majority of people there are going to know who Faker is.
Yep.
Can't say the same for the other, but that's no slight to them because obviously they won. They had a lot of close calls, and Faker, I mean, he still made a lot of great plays. For somebody who's been in the game for this long, I mean, he's like pulling like a LeBron tenured right now, but not quite as long. Yeah, we'll see if League even lasts that long for one.
Totally.
But, I mean, he's still doing it. Some of those Azir plays he pulled out, I mean, are just reminiscent of many, many years ago. So he's still got that skill, and I think, sure, maybe the more younger kids got it now, but like they'll never be able to touch what he has accomplished.
Sure.
And, I mean, only time will be able to tell to that. But I think everybody, maybe it's like an MJ LeBron thing. Like, everybody's still going to remember MJ.
Yeah. I do think it also depends on what happens with the rest of the year, because that's another big, big factor. Because I think if Chovy comes out, smokes everybody at Worlds, gets it done, MVP, next year does it again, then it's like, okay, now the mountain of work is starting to get there. I don't think it's an impossible theory that he could dethrone Faker as the greatest of all time. But to me, it is very LeBron versus Jordan. Like, I would argue that, in my opinion, LeBron has a better career as a player I would draft over Jordan. but Jordan was the first to do it. He was the brightest flame. He built the sport. He made it so that dudes like LeBron could do it. And it's like same here with Faker. It's like I think we will inevitably probably see a talent that is as good as, if not greater than Faker, with as long as a career of Faker, if the league lasts that long. But I think right now it's hard to imagine that Chovy isn't the best player in the world, and that as they look towards Worlds, hey, Genji was the best in the first split. Genji is the best at MSI. It's hard to not assume they're going to be the best at Worlds too.
Yep, not true that. I mean, it just depends. I mean, I know them over there in Korea and Asia and stuff. They take the stuff very seriously. Yep. So T1 will definitely be coming back with a fight, 100%.
Totally. We're going to get to play again soon.
Exactly. EWC.
EWC. So the next thing we want to hop into is going to be our Teardown. We're going to be talking about Esports World Cup. Now, there's a lot of hoopla and chatter about the event. There's a lot of people who choose not to cover the event. We're a little bit more of, we're here for the sake of esports. We don't really care about the politics behind it. We try to avoid that as much as we possibly can until it's a teardown. Isn't that right, Pat? Then we get as political as you could possibly imagine. But a lot of people don't really like this event. We saw it with Valorant. We've seen it. Call of Duty's coming up. A lot of the games we cover are going to be there. This is arguably probably a sports washing type experience. People feel that way. When you look at the numbers from Valorant, you and I talked about this off the show. It shows that the numbers aren't as good. There's not as many co-streams. It doesn't look as good. So I guess the question is this event long-term sustainable and worth it? And do you think there is net good in the event, or do you think this is just purely a political play?
I mean, I think it's just a lot of all of those things. But I think in the long run, sure, I think it's net good for esports because we are bringing in a lot of games, and we're not just bringing in the top games. I mean, we got like Rensport Racing here. We got mobile games. We got
Mobile Legends, bang, bang!
Yeah. We got everything here. So that's fantastic to see because that can bring additional eyes to it that maybe otherwise wouldn't.
If they watch.
Yeah. But, of course, we can't mention that stuff without the political stuff because Valorant, I think, was hit by this the hardest. I'm interested to see leagues coming up if it will stay true to that, but I know it's still going to be a tad bit different. But obviously, you didn't have people like Tarek co-streaming and stuff because of political beliefs and stuff, and that definitely hurts the overall viewing experience. We saw it numbers-wise. And for me personally, I think the production, at least so far from the Valorant, has not been the greatest. It has been a lot of stuff messing up. It seems very B tier when this is supposed to be like this big S tier event with the amount of money we got on the line. Casters haven't been feeling as hype or into it as they normally do coming off of like Toronto. It's just been like a whole different vibe. And don't even get me started on the key crushing. I mean, there's definitely some things we could do to hype that up because that is like 20 seconds of cringe that I'm not ready for.
Yeah.
And so, Call of Duty, I mean, that's already been its own little problem over here in its own league. So I don't know how it's going to handle over here at EWC.
Sure. I mean, to me, the big piece is I think that there are good intentions behind this. It feels very similar to back in the day when Rick Fox did the Echo Fox situation. His kid was a big part of it. And I would be willing to wager that there's probably a lot of people inside of the Saudi Arabian government and the people that are funding this that are doing this for their kids, for the future, for esports, and probably for all of the right reasons that hopefully have absolutely nothing to do with any of the bad stuff when you think about that region. And so I do think that, I don't think all the intent is net bad. I think that the biggest problem with events like this are if you want to be an Olympic-style event where you bring nations and places together, you need something to rally them together to unify against. This probably should have been a national event instead of an open event because nobody really cares that it's going to be the Falcons versus Virtus Pro and Team Liquid and these others because, like, who cares that Magnus Carlsen's on Team Liquid? It's Magnus Carlsen. I don't care. I care that it's Magnus Carlsen. I don't care. If he was in a 100 Thieves jersey, he'd be in a 100 Thieves jersey. If he's in a Falcons jersey, he'd be in a Falcons jersey. There's no value in that championship to me. So maybe you make it a national type deal or something else to make people care and be fans. Because like if it is America versus Britain and this is coming down to the Second War of 1776 and this comes down to Mobile Legends Bang Bang, I would guarantee you a lot of Brits and a lot of Americans will be watching Mobile Legends Bang Bang to see who is going to win the esports Olympics, right? But then you got players on the Call of Duty side where it's like you have Scrap who's out there saying that, hey, you know, FaZe is staying together for this and like this means something. And it's like, yo, I'm going to be honest with you, homie. Nobody cares. In 10 years, we're going to be looking back on this the same way we look back on Millennium. And Millennium was a really cool event. It was one of the coolest events in the world, happened in Europe every year. I thought it was one of the coolest tournaments. It was a tournament that I was hoping to win at some point in my career. But nobody cares about it compared to Champs. You look back 10 years ago, who won Champs, I can tell you. Who won Millennium? I don't know. It's probably Optic, but I don't know. And that's how this event's going to feel to me. It just feels like it's not enough to be memorable, and that's why I can't imagine it staying. It might stay because of money, but like it's not going to stay because people care.
So you saying we should do like a kind of like an all-stars thing?
Sure.
We have like a North American.
How much more interested would you be? Because with Valorant, real quick, the numbers are there was 350,000 people watched the Valorant finals, which was a Game 5 banger of a series. The gameplay was unequivocally not the problem. And it did approximately a third to a fourth of the viewership of Masters Toronto. And you could argue maybe time zone's part of that, but it's also, to your point, there's no co-streamers because co-streamers have political issues with it, blah, 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 blah. There's some people that don't want to support it for the same reasons, but then also the time zone's a little bit funny, and then it is all Euro thing, so you don't get any NA support, you don't get any Asia support, so maybe that's why the viewership's lower. But you can't tell me, if it wasn't the 5 best American players versus the 5 best European players or the 5 best Asian players, first off, you at least have 2 countries competing immediately. And then second, you wouldn't be interested in seeing what would happen there? Like, that'd be crazy.
I mean, I think that definitely would be kind of interesting to do something like that, to where it does make it that Olympic level, and we have our North American representatives that go on a team together to compete against another country's thing. I think the problem is, well, not the problem, but I think it just kind of delves into like when you get overseas, obviously there's a bunch of many different countries all in one span, and a lot of players over there kind of cross-pollinate into like one area. So, but I think that would be cool if you had like 5 Great Britain players on a team and 5 Spain and 5 whatever Germany, and it's you represent your country in that game and play, and then the overall club thing represents that of like
and that's why the club thing just to me it means nothing. And it's like we saw Benji Fishy win it, and then he immediately was talking about Mezzi, who was a CS player, win the first major, and how like that's cool and inspirational and stuff. And it's like you know there's country pride there, like totally exists. And part of the advantage of the Olympics is like everyone gets to watch LeBron play with Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. And it's like, that's incredible. Like, that is awesome to watch. Like, LeBron got to play with Kobe and these other guys and, like, things that could never happen in reality. And, like, you see the same thing. Like, there's probably never a world where Donk and Zywoo are going to get to play together. But if they happen to be from the same region, representing the same thing, having them play together, that would be absolutely incredible. People would tune in for just that. And it also would help you get further away from, the sports washing nonsense that people are so worried about. I mean, I know there's political issues and there's other stuff that wouldn't resolve for sure, but in terms of making me watch it, I would be way more interested in watching the American Valorant team versus the European Valorant team or versus the Asian Valorant team, because it would be good. And it's also teams that haven't played together. What's the worst thing that could happen? You lose. Cool, you're going to go back to your actual team and actually play for G2. Like, cool.
I think that would be cool. But with EWC, time will tell. This is only week 1 we've gone through, so things might get better. Yeah, it might get better, might get worse. We got plenty more games to go through. But we're going to switch on up now, back to the old, well, not back, now to the Counter-Strike. We are back after a nice little break. But we got the Fissure Playground that's coming up. I think it starts tomorrow.
Yeah, 15th. I don't know what day of the week it is.
So it's starting soon. But unfortunately, a lot of the top teams are not going to be there. It's basically what seemingly looks like 15 and below on the ranking system. There might be a couple that are a little higher than that. But yeah, it's basically all your top teams are skipping this one. It's relatively new. It's in Serbia. And so basically, is this mid-showdown
worth it?
Worth it.
Ooh. Yes, absolutely yes. The reason is the last mid-off we had was a really good mid-off. It was an entertaining event. It also lets you know a lot of people for the first time. I think the undervalued piece of the major, a lot of people can complain that it was 32 teams. It felt like so many, blah, blah, blah. The 2 biggest moments of the major, from an interaction standpoint, did not have anything to do with Simple. It was G getting his ice cream, and it was Emilia getting a jersey from the Brazilian commentators. Those 2 had the most social interactions of the whole event. Like, that's absolutely incredible. We're not sure the BBC is not writing articles about it or anything else. They're only talking about, the players winning and stuff. But those moments are the moments that make Counter-Strike feel cool. And you and I have always been big proponents of this when it comes to like beer leagues and stuff like that. Like people that are not skilled at games, not to say these people are not skilled, but people that are not skilled at games want their opportunity to win. If you are a player in anything, you play to win the game. That is most likely why you're playing this. So having events where not Vitality, not the Fighting Donks of Spirit, and not Falcons in them gives anybody the opportunity to win. And like that's a cool moment for a lot of people. They may never beat the big dogs, but if you win these type of events, it's going to give you the fight to try to fight longer, to prolong your career, have a good time. It's also a ton of money. Like these dudes are not fighting for scraps here. And we do get a lot of fun personalities. We get to learn about new ones. We're going to see Snow play on the Pain Gaming Squad and a lot of people that are riding the momentum from the previous major. So I think it's exciting. I'm a big fan of it. That's why I like Counter-Strike. There's so many events. I respect the big boys for saying, hey, we want our break between the major and IEM, so we're not doing this. But I also respect everybody else being scrappy and saying, yo, I'll take some money. Let's do it.
Yeah, we mentioned this a little bit up on Queued Up, and for me, it's like I think things like that are fun, and it's great opportunities for those specific orgs to, since this is like $1 million tournament, so it does allow them to be able to make some money without having to compete against the likes of Falcons or Vitality. But it's entertaining Counter-Strike, but it's not necessarily good Counter-Strike.
Sure.
And those things can coexist in and of in the same self. Because like while it may be fun to watch these teams battle it out, you might be able to sit there and pick apart and be like, yeah, this was kind of a bad play, but it led to this awesome spray battle through here that just is very entertaining. And it's like I said to Davis on there, it's like, it's the same thing. It's like, it's entertainment. It's nothing else. A lot of these teams, unfortunately, can't compete with the top four. And that's just a sad reality in Counter-Strike right now. Sure. I would like for that to change. But this is a game that's been around for like 20 years. So it's like, you got to have that level of experience in it, as where a lot of these teams obviously still have their old guard still on board that are still carrying it. Apex, IGL, and he's been playing for forever. Same with Zawu, all these. So you get the same thing. So good for them. I'm rooting for VP in this tournament.
Again, that's the next thing we want to kind of hop into is like what things are you looking for in this event? Like if you're a viewer, first-time watcher, and you heard the hype of the major, the coolest event in all of Counter-Strike. First off, I'm sorry that this is your second event. Not that it's bad, but the major is incredible, and this is not that. But who are you going to be pulling for? What should those people watch for and look for at this event?
Like I said, I'm excited for VP here. They did recently go through some roster changes, and which is just a little out of the left field to me personally, because I felt like through Dallas and through the major, I felt like VP had a pretty good run, and they were doing really well. And they're a pretty solid squad, so I'm excited to see them kind of get to show that more here at this tournament again, so they don't have to worry about getting knocked out by any of the top teams. But the same can be said for like Pain Gaming, who's also had some nice runs. Obviously at the major, they had a very nice run, knocking out Furia. So those two teams I think are really to look out for too. We have Lin Vision Gaming will be competing here, who also had a great run. So it's exciting to see more of them, and maybe they can pull something out. I think there's a lot of these teams that you can look at and see and have a lot of fun and see growth from them, because at the end of the day, I think that's what's most important for this is like going up against these other teams more around your talent, improving your game, and moving forward. And obviously for some, testing out some roster changes that they just went through.
Yep, and that's the part that I think is exciting is you do have these new rosters coming in. So some of the teams are going to be a little bit different. They're going to play a little bit different. You don't know what to expect. But then I also think that if you're coming off the heels of this major, like right now, Pain looked really good. You could argue that they are now the princes of their region. They have now taken over Brazil. The torch has been passed to Snow, the prodigy who was trained by the master. And moving forward, it feels like it's theirs to lose. So can Snow and Pain make a run in this? I don't know. We'll see. Maybe the major was a Cinderella run from him. Maybe that's the best they got. Or maybe this is about to be a new era where they come into the top 10 and they got the Mongols type stuff, putting the region on their back. I think similarly with Lin Vision, Amelia was amazing on and out of the server. So I think those moments, you really get to capitalize on that. So I'm excited to see what they do, because arguably at times they played out of their mind. The fact that they were able to go from effectively all the 0-3 picks to the 3-0 picks so consistently multiple times was unbelievably incredible. So I do hope we get to see some good stuff out of them. But no matter what, you're going to get to see some incredible Counter-Strike. It's going to be nothing but good games, because you're probably not going to have the Vitalities of the world come in and show you what perfect Counter-Strike looks like. You're not going to have the Chosen One come in and slay out the server. You're not going to have Donk just run at kids with the W key and somehow take bad plays and make them incredible. So I think it's going to be really good and exciting. I think it's a nice prep for IEM. We're probably going to go back to the same old, same old.
There's no doubt. But maybe with our next topic here, the Rostermania that's been going on, does this really in the long scheme matter? Does this take someone like VP from being like 12th or 13th? I don't know what their exact rating is, but somewhere around that area, to maybe being in the top 7?
I can't.
Or G2. G2's been going through a lot of changes.
I can't imagine any of this is going to be too cumbersome. I don't think any of it's truly going to. It's so hard that the top 3 teams, I would argue right now probably the top 2 teams, and then there's 2 teams after that, because we don't know with the new changes to Spirit if they're going to stay in that top 3. So actually it might say they might be a little bit out in the beginning. But either way, the top 4 to 5 teams, really the top 2 teams, are in such a league of their own, it doesn't feel competitive. I do want to quickly, though, the weirdest roster change to me, though, is Vitality's been on a crazy run. Vitality actually changed their team manager and their president of esports operation during this Rostermania, which is odd, mostly because they're dominant. And I don't know if they're leaving for better opportunities or different opportunities. So we'll have to see with that. But to me, those roster changes honestly were more interesting than the players because, like, Spirit only made 1 move. I can't imagine, even if it is a reasonable upgrade, that's going to make them consistently be able to compete and beat Vitality and Falcons. If you're Falcons, you've shown that you can get knocked out of tournaments earlier, but you've not shown that you can consistently compete with Vitality. And if you're Mals, you've showed that you can consistently lose to Vitality. And that's it. Right? And if you're Vitality, why would I believe that you're not still going to be doing good? Maybe Rops is buying too many Porsches and having too much good life, and he's going to become the next Simple and walk away for a little bit. But other than that, I don't know what's going to be changing. And then the Simple one as well. Like we don't have Simple movement. We don't know where he's at. Seems like he's stuck in contract purgatory. He's just playing Clash Royale and hopefully practicing. He did beat the Falcons though the other day, which isn't optimistic. He aced them and then played 3 of the Falcons: Monacy, Nico, and I think Kaiusoki. And he beat them with randoms in a face-it match, which maybe he's not good for Falcons. Maybe he's good for Simple. I'm not sure, but I don't know. Roster changes just didn't feel big to me. Didn't feel monumental. But I would have said the same thing about Rops going to Vitality 6 months ago, and boy, would that have been wrong.
It seems like one player can't make the difference. For me, I think the biggest one for me is the Falcon one, just because this one is so, it just goes with the Falcons motto of like, let's just throw money at the team and see how good we can do. And I mean, I guess you can say it's been working. I mean, they are a top 5 team in Counter-Strike, but if we just rank it off the major, I wouldn't consider them top 5. Yeah. So it's like, can this just one addition of this guy who I'm sure is an incredible talent, but hasn't proven himself at any Tier 1 events or anything recently, is that the type that we need to be able to prove ourselves now, if you're a Falcons fan or if you're Falcons, to be able to take on not even just Vitality, Mouse, anybody, new Spirit. I mean, because I agree with you. That one change for Spirit, it would have to be another like Donk level talent to be able to really make
like the one you sold to Falcons allegedly. Which is crazy. Yes. And that's my hard hit on the Falcons is like, I think Monacy is an absolutely great player. He is arguably the best opera in the game right now, and you would say it's between probably him and Zywoo. But Monacy being on the Falcons, they consistently were maybe top 10-ish. Nico was inconsistent. Monacy at times on G2 was inconsistent. Monacy goes to Falcons, they become more inconsistent. Now, I do think they made the right move. Magic did seem like he was the person who was kind of holding them back. So hopefully that is an upward trajectory. But again, it's going to be so hard to make it work. But that is all we got for the normal piece of the show. We're going to move on to the best segment, which is what, Pat?
Buy or sell. All right, our first topic for buy or sell is none other than Benji Fishy from Heretics. Came from Fortnite, winning in Fortnite, to now finally winning in Valorant. Are good gamers just good at anything? Any game?
I'm buying it. I think this is similar to such as life. I think if you can be in the 1% of anything, you can be in the 1% of anything. I think another great example is Pimp right now in Counter-Strike. Dude was a killer in the server, and then now the man's competing in Ironman marathons, crazy biking things. If you are good and can be dedicated to anything, you can be good and dedicated at anything.
I think for me, it's a buy as well. I think a lot of it is just dedication, putting in that work. If they can put in the work to be good at Fortnite, they can put in the work to be at Valorant or running marathons or anything. But hey, I don't want to throw slight at Benji Fishy, but I mean, I think he went negative 22 in that whole series with his team. So maybe his skills are more in the brain.
And maybe they're
mental game.
Yeah, maybe they're objective based, or hey, maybe kids in Fortnite aren't that good. But hey, maybe he's a good Valorant player. That's all that matters.
Kids in Fortnite aren't that good.
The next thing that we want to hop into is Discord. They're constantly making changes. Now we've got something called Discord orbs that you can go on quests to be able to get, and then you can buy your nitro with it. And the whole thing just seems a little muddy and confusing. And, well, the internet doesn't like it too much. And that feels like a common trend with Discord recently, but the sentiment online is effectively Discord is too big to fail. It's never going to go anywhere. You buying or selling, Discord can't die.
Ooh, that's a tough question, man. It's a tough question. I think I'm going to have to sell.
Yes.
Because I don't think anything is too big to die, per se.
Other than Walmart.
I think right now Discord definitely is.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be better competition. I don't think TeamSpeak's going to do it. I know you try to preach it. It ain't going to be TeamSpeak. It's got to be something new. Can't be an old guard. Something new's got to come along that does what Discord does, but better. Just the same way Discord came along and took the throne from them.
I'm absolutely selling. I somewhat agree with the bald man over here that it might not be TeamSpeak, which saddens me a little bit because I do think this feels very technology-esque, right? MySpace was the first major thing. Facebook came in and killed MySpace, but then there's Twitter and there's Instagram and these other kind of things out there. I do kind of fear that Discord might be the Facebook of the world. We all might hate it in 10 years, but our parents still use it and it won't go away. Kind of feels like what Discord.
That's what will be that though.
No.
We're the older people.
I'll be the old cool person on Twitter, okay?
Okay.
But I do think that it's going to be really hard to go away, which is unfortunate. I do think TeamSpeak is an arguably better platform today, but the free and convenience of Discord is so appealing. I don't disagree. I think it's probably going to be something net new, but there's no chance this thing lives forever. I think the app isn't good. They make terrible decisions, and just feels icky. It doesn't help gaming.
What do we use for our office communication?
You know what? We should change it to TeamSpeak right now. You bring up a good point. Mark, after this, we need to have a discussion about transitioning to TeamSpeak. Let's talk about it next week.
All right. Moving on. Nearly half of 2025's top Steam games have been indie games or AA games. That's the likes of Peak, Repo, Expedition 33, Kingdom Come, all of these games. So, is AAA gaming dead? Buy or selling?
I'm going to buy this, but that's because it's not just AAA. I think gaming might be dying. This isn't good. I think Kingdom Come is good. I think Expedition is good. Schedule 1, Peak, Repo, all these other things, these are like bite-sized little nuggets. They're not they don't feel real. I hate being the old boomer, zoomer, whatever, but when you feel like you go back in time 10 years, we had The Last of Us competing with Uncharted and Halo and Grand Theft Auto and all these incredible games from AAA companies, but then now it's what are we doing, guys? What is this? We're losing to Repo and Peak and Schedule 1? It's I think those games are cool. Back then, I thought Journey was cool. I thought Super Meat Boy was cool. I think those are cool things. But if you got $100 million and you're losing to the guys that made the crab game that went to an Airbnb for 2 weeks, you're $100 million loss to that.
I'm buying because I think AAA games are dead in the sense that they are now. I think a lot of these other games, whether we like them or not, have kind of shown that the experience isn't about waiting 8 years for a mediocre game just because it has good graphics or anything like that. It's about the game, for one, up front, being fun, its foremost thing, or telling a great story, and not being filled to the brim with microtransactions. I hate to say it, AAA gaming has just been plagued by business. And that's its ultimate downfall. We're not looking at, is this game fun to play or fun to make or what we want to make anymore. It's, how can I make money off of this?
Yeah, I think
that's the problem.
Yeah, we can make this our whole teardown next week for sure. But I think it's twofold. I think some of them are like that, but like a God of War and others don't do that stuff. But I also think the streaming thing hurts a ton too because Peak, Schedule One, Repo, all those games you mentioned, those are clip magnets. All they are is cool, funny clips on Twitter, TikTok, and Twitch, right? Whereas Expedition 33 and Kingdom Come, there ain't no clips on that. It's 3 hours and find a brothel and hope for the best.
That's only if you're set. We won't talk about it no more. We move on.
Yeah, we'll move on. Next game is going to be GTA 6, which we just mentioned. Travis Scott teased that he is going to have a song in it. Seems that they're going to be targeting a little bit more AAA. They got a little bit of hate last time for how they handled music, but do you think if they add a whole bunch of A-list stuff in here, you think that is good for the game? You're buying it or selling it? No, we need to go with more low-key background music.
I mean, I guess it's a buy. It doesn't inherently make anything worse. I personally doesn't matter to me. What that you can make. We've seen tons of soundtracks for games that come out. I mean, even Expedition 33 making the music and the main theme for that song is just like an incredible song that they made just specifically for the game. So if GTA wanted to take the time to make its own songs, I'm sure they probably make bangers. But yeah, it's cool to have Travis Scott in here and whoever else they might have, popular artists. I mean, what if we had Kendrick Lamar not like us in GTA 6?
That would go uncharacteristically hard. I'm going to buy this, but with the biggest asterisk you could ever imagine. They cannot, for the sake of this game being good, put Spotify, Apple Music, or any of those other services in here. I want the game to have a playlist because when I think about playing GTA, I think about the music from the games. And that's like such a moment of those games that you need to keep. If it is just everybody's Spotify and Apple playlist and blah, 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 like, I don't care. I want the funny radio host bull crap stories and everything else. Got to keep it cool.
And that's why GTA 4 was the best, dude.
I don't disagree.
You remember that GTA 4's main theme? Dude, seeing that trailer for the first time?
I don't disagree with you. Radio Los Santos, baby.
All right, we've been agreeing this whole time, so maybe we'll disagree for this one. Battlefield 6, all right, it's been getting a lot of stuff's been coming out on it. I think they had an alpha test or a beta test or something they did. It's looking fantastic, big shot, but a lot of controversy here. They're doing an open class system, they said, that no class is going to have a restriction on the weapons they can use. And a lot of the fans are upset, and then they doubled down and said, no, we're keeping it this way.
Kick the rocks, boys.
Buying the fact that this is a bad idea, that classes need to have...
Whoa.
But,
what?
Yeah.
Buying that it's a bad idea.
Buying that keeping the open system bad.
Okay. So if
I
were
to do it opposite. Buying is you believe in EA. Selling is believe in the fans.
All right, I don't want to say I'm buying because I'm believing in EA because that's not what's happening. However, I am buying that the guns should be an open system. Now, again, similar to the last one, big old asterisk up here. The guns can totally be for any class, but the progression is what is the most important here. Because if you give me Call of Duty weapon progression, I do not care about this game. The reason that I have grinded Battlefield, I played Battlefield 3 for hundreds of hours to get weapons, to use them, because some a-hole killed me with them. And sure, I had to go through classes and stuff. I don't really care about the classes piece, but I need the progression. I need the sniper progression. I need the util progression. I need the progression to be good. I don't care about the classes.
Yeah, you have a bad take. Sorry, selling. I'm with the fans here. I'm an old head. Classic Battlefield is... if you're the engineer class, you have LMGs. That's part of it. The assault class has the assault rifles. The engineers have like the subs and that is classic Battlefield, and that is how it's supposed to go. Sure, you have a list of weapons that are like available to all classes. That usually is shotguns or miscellaneous weapons like crossbows, things like that. That is Battlefield. They tried this whole change-up thing with 2042. What happened? I
think there were some other logistical problems.
Trash can. There was a lot of problems with it, but they said they wanted to recapture what Battlefield was. This isn't what Battlefield was.
It is. It's online internet hate.
No.
All right, moving on. The next one is Faker says that in an interview recently that he will not be pushing his kids to go pro in gaming, that he has lived that life and knows how difficult it is. Are you buying or selling? That's some good advice.
Well, I'm buying. Because I've always believed, and this is mainly for a traditional sports background, is I've never liked the idea of trying to push someone into your steps, your child, whether that's playing. I had big grudges with my father. If you're watching this, I'm sorry. He tried to force me to play football because that's what he played, and he was good at it, and he wanted me to do that. But I didn't want to do that. Sure. And if my heart's not in it, it's not going to do it. It's the same for your kids. If they want to be a video game player, pro, go for it. But just because I'm Faker, it doesn't mean I need to produce the next Faker.
I'm selling this, but not for the parenting reason. I'm selling this for the society reason. I'm selling this for he has lived the life and knows how difficult it is. That's a problem with people. You should not be conforming your life to people. If he would not have gotten as much hate on the internet, stress, all the other nonsense that comes along with being a successful person, he probably wouldn't feel this way. So I don't think that it is playing the game that it is his problem. I think it's probably the people associated with his problem. And for that reason, I'm selling. You can raise your kid however you want to. If you don't want him to do the hard thing, don't make him do the hard thing. But people suck. People just got to suck less.
Suck less. All right, and something I guess that did suck less was Superman.
That's a way to put it.
New Superman movie out. Apparently doing really well at the box office. And we buying or selling that movies are back.
I think it's been long enough since the COVID era, and I do think that there's I don't know, at least in America, I feel like humans are shifting back outdoors, the great migration out of the bedroom again and offices around the world. So I think movies are probably back to stay. Also, there's some cool, exciting stuff. The F1 movie we actually went and saw as an office recently. Really, really good.
7.5.
I think that's still good. I'm not exactly sure. And then there's other movies. I actually don't watch too many movies, but I'm actually excited for The Odyssey, which is coming out soon. I think there's a lot of cool stuff. So maybe it is back. Maybe it's good. Suppose Superman's good.
I'm buying, but I also don't think it ever left. I mean, we obviously have a little down periods, but there has been a lot of great movies. Yes, the F1 movie was great. Yes, The Odyssey does look fantastic. I mean, even things like that I went and seen with the family, like the Lilo and Stitch live-action remake.
Did you watch How to Train Your Dragon?
No, that was a Seth thing again.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not Seth.
But he lives a crazy life. We're on here making shows, and he's living life out there. It's crazy. The last thing that we want to bring is Twitch. Third straight decline in viewership quarter. Kick's first ever billion-hour quarter. And YouTube is seemingly just running away with all the stats. Now, the buy or sell here is, are you buying or selling? Twitch is dying because it ain't going up. It's going down.
Yeah, I can buy that. Unfortunately, it's just been going down. For me, I think it's just really just kind of slow implementation of features that seem very commonplace nowadays, that they are just either don't do or very slow at implementing it. I think their CEO is just kind of, at first, when he first got on, I thought it was cool and great, but it feels like sometimes he's just there more for entertainment, it seems, than actually running the company. And the others, I mean, Kick, I guess congratulations to that. That just means DGen's on the rise, and I can obviously see that.
I'm actually selling that it's dying because I think it's already dead, and I think Twitch is just going to become a Kick 2.0 soon enough, where there's going to be a sect of people on there that is that sect of people, because I've been not a Twitch lover for a very long time. I don't think I have been inside the Twitch app, I don't know, probably in like 5 years at this point. Even here, we pretty much only watch things on YouTube. I think YouTube is the better platform for creators. It pays creators more efficiently. So our stuff's on YouTube. But I also think that Twitch does things weird and slow, and they don't adhere to their own policies and guidelines. They pick and choose depending on who you are, which is never good. And that's why I don't know that they're going to get too much smaller, but I think they're going to always keep, like, I don't know, maybe they keep the Aiden Ross and the Kai Sinnetts, but they don't keep the Asmogolds and the other guys. And it just kind of becomes weird sects that aren't even playing video games. Like Asmongold and Aiden Ross, Kai Sinnett, I mean, they do games occasionally, but for the most part, it's just weird stuff.
Yap, 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 yap.
Yeah, it's just yap, 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 yap. And it's like, sure.
Not about the good stuff, like esports.
Yeah, 100%. Video game, I just want to watch you play a game at this point. I mean, holy Christ. That is all we have for today's episode. Do we sound like old curmudgeons? I think it's consistently getting worse at this point. Hey, the world, we've got to get a better place. Send us happy things. Send us cool topics to talk about. So the next week we can talk about them in a buy or sell. Other than that, what are you playing this week, Pat?
Tarkov, hardcore white, baby.
There's no good games out. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out.